welcome to the 10-minute tea break on The Pickup. This show is going to go in any direction we want, really. Any sort of event or current affair, political, I don't know, entertainment, anything we want to talk about. But the rule is that we've only got 10 minutes to chat about it or debate, whatever. So this is the first one. And we're starting on a bit of a heavy one, but it is 20 years since 9/11. So we're just going to have a little bit of a chat about what we remember about the day and I guess sort of the impact it's had on the world and on our lives. So I'm going to hit start on 10 minutes. So I'll start with Andy. What do you remember about the day?
What year was it? 2001. So I was 13. 13 and a half or so. I remember coming home from school. Would have been what, year 9?
Year 9, yeah.
Year 9. And I think my nan was looking after us. So she opened the door and she was like, two planes have crashed in America. And I just instantly thought like in the air. And I thought, how the hell does that? I was like, oh, and then obviously it quickly came to light that it was it wasn't into each other. And I suppose now you'd get a lot more coverage, but at the time it was also bits of information coming in. I don't think it really sort of sank in until a few days.
Yeah.
When you're a 13-year-old, you don't. I mean, I was probably a young 13-year-old at the time, and I don't think you realise sort of the human toll, and you don't realise quite what's going on.
Yeah. I don't think sort of 24-hour news channels were a massive thing at the time. Maybe just in their infancy, I suppose.
Yeah.
With like the advent of Freeview and stuff. But that was the first time I remember sort of it being rolling sort of all day, every day, and sort of being glued to it, I suppose, really, wasn't it? Yeah. What do you remember much about the day? You were a bit younger, but
so I was 10.
Yeah.
And the main thing I remember is kind of coming home from school, and I was I mean, it sounds awful, doesn't it? But I was 10. I was a child, so it's not that bad. But I was kind of a bit gutted that I couldn't watch the show that I wanted to watch because every channel just had this coverage of this crash. And I remember Weird Brothers, if you hadn't already guessed. But I remember like you and my dad sat and like stood in the room, both kind of aghast at what we were watching, because I remember watching one of them go into the.
Possibly,
like,
yeah.
Because I remember watching one of them fall.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Because one of them had fell, and then they were filming the other one, weren't they? And then that fell. And I remember that, but I kind of don't really remember like my reaction or like kind of. Obviously, it's been the change in the world that I remember. If you know what I mean. Kind of. The ripple effect of the whole thing. What about you?
Yeah, I was same year as Andy in year 9. I don't know if you remember, like you had one day where you were day monitor in year 9. Sort of collected the registers and like helped out in the office. It was basically just a bit of a sit-off day, wasn't it? And that was my day to be day monitor. And I think it was like after the afternoon session where I'd gone round and collected the registers and took them back to the office. And I remember just sort of sitting outside the office, and I can't remember if they had a TV in there maybe or radio, because obviously like internet, Twitter and stuff wasn't a thing. But I remember like rumblings in the office, sort of hearing about this plane crash, and it sort of caught my attention, and I was like, oh God, what's happening? And I think you usually got like an early dart when you were day monitor as well, didn't you? It's like an hour before everyone else. So like I think I got home about 2:30, which was around the time of maybe like the second one going in, and as you said, like our dad was on shifts at the time, so he was at home, and we were both just sat in silence watching the events unfold, really. And just remember, just obviously never seeing anything like it before, and I guess we didn't really know what terrorism was or anything like that before. Obviously, there had been stuff in our lifetime, but maybe we were too young to like appreciate it. But this was the first one that really like hit me, and I just remember that day quite clearly. And then obviously, I went to New York a couple of years ago, and went to the 9/11 museum and the site and everything, and it's an amazing place. Like, to be honest, like I know that sounds a bit crude, but like if you are in New York, you need to go to the 9/11 museum. Probably the best museum I've ever been to, really. Just maybe it's because it's in our lifetime as well, and it's like relevant. Usually when you go to a museum, like you can't really relate to stuff, can you? And it's about the war,
It's like
or
black and white footage, isn't it? Like you can't really relate to it, and then, as you say, it's been in our lifetime. You remember it, so you can humanise it.
Yeah.
Did either of you see the documentary the other night on ITV?
I missed it. No,
It's all like sort of unseen footage.
Oh,
or
right,
like,
okay, yeah.
like so you see like I think there was a fire, like a troop of firefighters that were just doing like a gas check that actually got the first, like they heard the plane going over, they looked over the camera pans and you see it going. And it was all just sort of like hand shot things like that. And it's just, I think, I haven't really watched footage from it for a while. I mean, you don't just go back and watch footage, do you? But then I think after having a break of not seeing things, it hits you even harder, I think, and especially like
and growing up as well, you know.
I've got kids now, so it's all the whole like you hear like the fear in people's voices, like on the phone and that.
Yeah,
and it was a hard hitting documentary.
I think that's what was good about the museum in New York. There was a lot of stuff that I didn't know, and little facts like, again, it sounds horrible, but like how far they had like plotted on a map of New York how far away, like the furthest point they found like body parts and stuff, and it was like 5-7 miles away or something like that, because of the impact of the blast and stuff. It spread around a lot, and when you are there you realise like the impact it would have had, how big the site is and how close everything is in together in that financial district, and the buildings around it, and it would have just been absolutely horrible to be there that day and be caught up in it.
What do you think the main impact it's had on the world has been?
I mean, I suppose like the obvious answer is like more security at airports and stuff, isn't it? I suppose like in Britain we didn't have internal travel, so like if you do, it's like business people going to London or whatever. But so we, I guess, I've always been like used to stricter rules. So that was something that surprised me, that how lax it was internal travel within America and stuff.
Right, yeah. You could do it off just like a driver's license or something.
Yeah, you didn't need a passport, and
I think, I mean, I don't have that many memories of before 9/11, but I feel like it's had a negative effect, obviously, in terms of trusting, foreign-looking people.
Yeah.
And just
when you're on public transport and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is,
Islamophobia.
Yeah,
It's kind of, they've been born out of that, really, hasn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah. What about you? Have you got anything which has really what you think's had an impact?
I mean, I suppose it's that takeaway of like the xenophobia maybe, and the people that have been blamed for it unjustly, maybe, because of the colour of their skin, or it's an easy get out, isn't it? Maybe for certain tabloid newspapers, or there was the whole war on terror for in inverted commas for years, wasn't there? And I feel like that mainly just caused bigger riff-raffs between like British people who were white and British people who weren't white. And obviously I can't speak for people in America or anything, but yeah, maybe the xenophobia of different people's religions and stuff like that. I think that's
yeah, and I think some of the documentaries as well. People like imagine the sort of what they were going through if you were caught up in the tower that day. People literally jumping from the top of the tower and stuff. It's just horrific to think about, really, isn't it? And
in the documentary, you see like some people are filming it from a rooftop like a few blocks away, and there's a guy there who's just like going out of his mind because he's like, I work on the 83rd floor. Yeah. And it's like he just wasn't in work that day.
Right.
Obviously his co-workers and that'll be there.
It's crazy how many stories there are of people who should have been on one of the flights or should have been in the building, and just for one reason or another they may have forgotten like a bag.
Yeah.
Or forgotten oh, I've left the kettle on, or I've left something on.
Yeah.
I go back in the house and I end up missing that flight, or I end up missing,
survivor's guilt.
Yeah, and it's like that must be really difficult to take as
I
well.
suppose that's something that you don't really think about, the people on the plane as well. Like you think about the people in the tower and obviously the people on the ground, but obviously the people on the plane as well. Like you don't really think about that as much, do you?
No, it's not publicised as much, is it?
You also got to remember the Pentagon attack and the one that went down in Pennsylvania.
Was that on its way to Washington?
Something like that. I think it was near Camp David.
Yeah.
So it all adds up. Doesn't it?
Yeah.
So many more than you even realise.
Yeah, and it's crazy. It's 20 years really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. So we're coming to the end of the 10 minutes now. I'll cancel it there, but yeah, that was a good discussion. First 10-minute tea break. As I say, this is going to be a regular thing, maybe once or twice a week, where we pick a topic and discuss and debate, whatever.
If you've got a topic that you'd like us to debate or whatever, stick it in the comments.
It doesn't always have to be quite so hard hitting.
It can literally be like Love Island, because I don't watch it and you do, so
it's on in the background for me.
It can be anything, so just hit us with a comment and
and leave your stories of like what you remember of the day in the comments as well, and we'll have a chat about it, and see you on the next one.